What's up everybody and welcome. We're actually on a 456 Brady Way right now. I'm just driving it to get some fuel. We're at Marker 1 Marina right now. We're going to start the video off a little differently today because we're at episode 100. I want to tell you a little bit about why that's actually special. The reason for that is that was my whole goal, was to make 100 episodes by the end of the year. Oh, you can tell I'm not actually driving right now. I'm going to show you. We got on Stay Point. That way I'm just kind of waiting. They're on my way right now to get gas. Once they get gas, we're gonna fill this one up for the customer for tomorrow. Anyway, so my goal was to make 100 episodes by the end of the year and see if anybody even wanted to watch me work on boats or do my job pretty much, which I've been doing for about 20 years now. So I'll give you a little background. This is all I've ever done my whole life, to work on boats. I worked at one place for about 10 years. We were a dealer for every manufacturer that exists. And then I started my own company. I worked between a couple different facilities with my own company. And then I have some kids, so now I got a real job where I work 9 to 5, take care of my kids. Can't complain. I work on really high-end boats now. I've put myself in a position where I don't have to burn bolts off of motors anymore or do any of that stuff. I'm pretty much diagnosing high-end, high-tech stuff. I say burning bolts off stuff, but what's funny about that is the boat we're working on today actually has a steering problem, and if we have to pull the rams off the back because they're bad or something, we might have to get the torch out. But it's very rare now. It used to be where I would be in the build somewhere working on a Merc cruiser trying to get a starter off where I could barely reach and it was corroded on. Those days are over, thankfully, and now I get to show everybody, luckily, my company, they're accepting of me making all these videos of these fabulous boats that I get to work on. So anyway, they're calling me over to get some fuel now. I just want to say thank you and give you a little insight of who I am. I enjoy what I do, pretty much a gearhead 100%, and we get some fuel and we'll get on our 335 Brady White and see what's wrong with the steering. Alright, so we're opened up here. Got the cover off it here. So this only complaint on this one is that the steering is sloppy. So when he's running at any kind of RPM up on plane, it wanders around. Feels like it's moving good. Let's go turn our batteries on. Alright, let's turn our key on, and we got power steering here. Seems like they're moving really well just by themselves. I don't see any issue there. Alright, so I'm going to do something a little bit unorthodox here when it comes to diagnosing this system. I'll explain why. Alright, so I've been doing this long enough, like I just said, for quite a while, that I know a certain era of these steering rams are actually a problematic part of Seastar. I remember the year, don't quote me on this, but I think it's from like 15 to 17. If you have a Pro Series tournament ram, it could go bad within a couple of years. They knew about this problem. We actually have warranted quite a bit of these from the past. I'm not sure if it's under warranty. I don't do that part of the job, but we're going to just switch the ram out and see if we can fix this issue. Let me show you what my suspect here is and why I would think that the ram is bad here. I'll explain. So our key switch on, which means our electric power steering pump is going to run. And we turn it and go all the way to lock, right? But now I'm all the way locked. I can still turn the wheel. It means it's bypassing fluid somewhere in the system. So typically that's because it's bypassing fluid through our steering ram back here. So for some reason, this ram right here, it's only that era that I was talking about. There's a seal right in the middle. It creates hydraulic pressure on one side or the other here. What happens is that seal will start to wear, and then it'll let fluid by one way or the other. That's why that wheel will keep spinning. When you're up on plane, you get that wandering effect because it's losing pressure as you steer. I'll grab my flashlight. I'll show you a couple other components in the system that could go bad here. Our helm is another spot that could go bad, but that's very, very rare. Usually they just leak before they go bad. So if we go down here in our bathroom, we go down underneath what actually would be the starboard side of the boat here with pretty much underneath the helm here. Let me open this up. Get a flashlight. And right here, that's our autopilot pump, the Garmin, and right next to it, that's our power steering pump. So typically if that goes bad, you just lose the pump and you just don't have any help. You have no power steering, so it makes it difficult to steer. If this goes bad, it can actually cause the same problem that we're having. And I can bypass those hoses. We'll do that if the ram is not the culprit, because this is usually not the case. But I have changed maybe 1 or 2 of these out over the years, so it's pretty rare. Same as this, that's usually not the problem here. It's typically the ram. When it comes to this era, because this boat is a 2017, it falls in that time where these rams could be bad. All right, so let's go back to where our motors are. We only have 2 steering rams. You look on each side, and actually everything here is tie barred together. You don't have any sensors. There's no Optimus or joystick or anything on this boat. It just has a bow thruster. So what we can do, since we have help with the power steering, this thing actually just has 2 lines here and 2 lines here. They're split off, so this line is identical to the line over there. So what I'm gonna do is take and cap off one side of these just to eliminate the pressure, and then I'm gonna put a brand new ram without it being hooked to the motor just sitting here and see if I can get the problem to stop, where it'll lock itself out and not keep spinning the wheel. Then we know that the ram is bad, or both of them. I only say both because you're not going to just change one ram knowing that this was the problem. So if this is the problem, we're changing both of them just so one's failed, the other one could do the same thing possibly. So let's get them capped off. All right, so I made these out of just some stuff I had so that we can block off our lines. All right, so these lines are always 3/4. Take them off one at a time here. Yeah, that's why I put the oil catcher down, because I'm going to spill a little bit of oil here trying to get these to cap off. Alright, so this time we're going to do the same thing, but I'm going to put it on a brand new ram. That way we can make sure that this is the problem here. These are the failed point. Alright, so we got our lines off of this ram connected to our new one. What we need to do though is bleed it, or it's just going to show that it has air in it and it's not going to work at all anyway. So let me go get the bleed machine and I'll show you that. Alright, there's 2 ways you can bleed out the steering here. We can use our power purge, which is pretty much cheating, or you can do it manually. But we got the machine, so let's use this. Essentially, we're just hook our power up to a battery. You're going to hook up to the helm. We'll hook up to our steering ram itself. And then what it does is it just loops the fluid through to get all the air out. And then we can make sure that if the ram is bad or not, because it could be something else still. So let me get it hooked up real quick. Alright, so there's a special adapter. We hook up our helm here. Now you can see already we got air in our line coming out. You can see the bubbles going. We're hooked up to power here. And we got our 2 lines and our ram hooked up. So what we gotta do is flip our switch. You can see it's pulling all the air out of the system for me. There's no more air in our helm here. We can help it by steering it too. Alright, so this doesn't have to be perfect, because we're just testing at this point. Alright, so we're fully bled out. I didn't show you before, but these are our bleed fittings. They're 1/2 inch. You crack those loose after you put our fittings right here on so we can bleed it out. You can do this manually by taking a hose to this. You can buy a little kit that comes for Seastar that you can bleed through the helm, and you just bleed it out through here, each side until all the air comes out. So now let's go test it. Alright, let's turn our key on so our power steering is going to help. I might get a little more air out of here. All the racket. Alright, so this thing's completely bled out. I have a little bit of air in the system, but it should lock out when I go all the way over one way or the other, lock to lock. So it does that, and we got 2 bad rams, or 1 bad ram, but we're not going to change out just one. Alright, let's see. Oh, it's stopping me. I can't even push it. Well, try the other way. Yep. It looks like the rams are bad. So if that wheel would have kept spinning, we would have had to go further down in the system to diagnose what was wrong. But we know the ram's bad. Lucky I got 2 tournament rams with me. Let's change them out and fix it. First, I'm gonna take these Allens off and get our tie bars off here first. There's also this little beauty plate. Depends on which side the tie bar is and what side the ram is. There's these little spots right here on each side they go to there. All right, so we got our tie bar off here. It's actually, you gotta be careful not to spin it because it changes the length of it every time you turn it. You turn it one way or the other. So we'll just lay that down so it doesn't get turned. Now we wanna get these off, which is 3/4. There's another one down here, there's a nut down here, is 3/4. We wanna do that to the other side too. Just one of these on each side. So both of these, and then just one of that. So hopefully we can get the ear to come off of here. And we can get this ram off, because underneath here, there's also a 14mm bolt that goes through. That's what steers the actual motor of this bar right here. All right, so we got our nuts off here. Looks like this side came loose. It won't come off of this side here for some reason. No big deal, we don't need it to. It came out from over here, which is fine, but it won't come off of here. So let's get the ram off of here, and we'll be able to get this off of here once we get it off the motor. I got a torch and stuff if we need to get that corrosion freed up, to get that ear off of there. But next, we gotta get that nut and that bolt out of there so we can get this ram off completely. It's the last thing holding down there. All right, so I got the ram off here. Actually took it off of both sides, just like I was doing everything at the same time. Might as well save a little time, but I'll just show you the one since they're both the same. This also goes on our ear here for our bonding wire. This goes to the other side of the ram. But both rams, the ears are both frozen on each side here. So we got our little torch. Let's get it down here and we'll torch them off there. All right, we found a perfect spot with some lava rocks here right by the boat. Don't want to start anything on fire. Plus we're right in front of a hose just in case. So basically we heat up this. This is aluminum. This is not aluminum. This should expand pretty far and allow us to get this off of here. So start torching. We don't have to worry about the ram or nothing because the ram's garbage now, so not a big deal. Try to burn all this corrosion off that we can. All right, I'll be able to stand it up and just tap that thing right off there. Let's see how easy it is, or we're gonna have to keep heating. Well, she's moving. It's good. All right, got it pretty far off. Let's see if we can wiggle it off here now. Oh, there she goes. Finally. I'll have to clean that all up, let that cool off. Let me do it to that one there, and then we can get our new rams on. All right, since we already got our new ram hooked up, we'll start with that one. Here's our ears. That's what we got off. They're cooled off. I hosed them off so they're not burning hot anymore. All right, so we got both rams on here. This one, just by this bolt here, both are the same. I like to put those on first because this can rock up and down and do everything. Once you lock our ears in here, lock those ears into place, you're not going to be able to rock this thing up and down so you can get to that bolt. So that's always the first thing that I do, is put that one on. Then we can stick our ears on now. I always put a nut on both of these on one side, that way you can move the motor back and forth to get the other eye on. Seems to be easier to do it that way. Show you once we get these tight. Oh, the marina closed on me. It's 5 o'clock. Let's try to get this done before 6 o'clock here. We're almost done. So now we can put our ears on here. Slide these on here. I leave the steering lines off usually when I do this, so that what you can do is move the motor around a little bit to kind of get these ears to where they need to go. That way, oh, that one went on easy, but sometimes you can wiggle these around and it'll help a little bit. All right, so we got our eyes back on here. Now we got to put our tie bar back on here. But we're gonna have to move this cylinder, which is cool, is it's fully adjustable now because of these fittings they use now. So now we can put that on, we can just put that back over it. Let's get those on first. All right, we got both sides on here, and I got the other side on. So really, the last thing here is our little bonding wire I'm gonna put on both sides real quick, and then we can hook it up and bleed it. All right, we are 100% hooked up. And now, I got my bleed splitter. This is the splitter between the two lines here, so it hooks up into one. We are hooked up to our helm. Let's fire it up and let it run. All right, well, she's bleeding all the air out of the system. I'm gonna clean my mess up here. All right, I got most of my mess cleaned up. The good thing is, I don't have to really do much else cleaning because they're fully detailing this boat tomorrow. So my job will be done. She'll get detailed and be ready to go. Let me show you a few other things here that I do to make sure that she's bled all the way. So now I see no more air in the system. I always take and I'll just leave the camera here. See if you can see any air come out of it. I like to push the motors back and forth by hand. That way it'll squeeze any air out of the cylinder, maybe if there's any in the very ends of each side here. Alright, so I got the air out that way. I also like to just come up to the helm here, spin it back and forth a couple times just to make sure. Motors won't really move a whole lot. They move really, really slow. If they even move at all. A lot of times they won't, just because this is bypassing all the pressure. I don't see any more air in it. Let me turn this off. We'll tighten those fittings up. And then what we'll do is we're on the autopilot. We'll run our power steering. Make sure we get any more air out of our helm or anywhere up here through those two systems. And then we'll be done. Alright, so now we just have our helm hooked up. Let's turn our key on. We'll use our power steering pump here. Go lock to lock. See, obviously it's working now. It binds out all the way. And I don't see any air coming out of the system here. Let's straighten them out. We're also going to engage our autopilot and make it move all by itself. Slowly but surely. Go back the other way. We'll force it to go the other way and make sure there's no air comes out of our system here. Well, it looks like we're clear of air. And she's working good. Well, this one turned out good. We got both rams done. Everything's bled out. Everything's working. Let's get in detail tomorrow, so this will be all ready for the customer. I'm gonna get all my crap off the boat and call it a day. We made it to 100 episodes. You might as well go for 100 more. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Later. Alright, we'll end the video on a fun one here. So we're on our 456. There's about half tank of fuel in it. So we fill it up so the customer can use it here. And here's our receipt. $1,910. But hey, you gotta pay to play.